On behalf of the Revolutionary Poets Brigade, I'd like to welcome you all here today to the international book launch Zoom of our new poetry anthology, Storm Warning, Poets for the Planet Building Socialism. I'm John Curl, one of the editors. The other four editors are Lisbeth Bailey, Christina Brown, Bobby Coleman, and Karen Melander Magoon. Christina and Lisbeth are sharing the moderator role with me today. This is our 11th annual anthology, our first without Jack Hirschman. As I'm sure you all already understand, Jack left his indelible spirit here with all of us. So the work he devoted his life to continues, and these annual anthologies are part of that. The quote from the introduction on the back cover of Storm Warning states our theme: creating, sharing, and reading poems out loud are revolutionary acts. Each poem calls to everyone everywhere to find the poet within, rediscover our shared humanity, and envision a future where our natural environment is cherished and everyone's basic needs are met. If you want additional copies of Storm Warning, the most direct way is to order them from our printer, lulu.com. We will be reading almost entirely in alphabetical order, but modified for a few readers with time constraints. Please just read your poem printed in Storm Warning without any introduction. If you're reading a bilingual poem, read the original first and then the translation. Please mute yourself when you're not reading. The recording of today's reading will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel and should be available for viewing tomorrow. We have a very full program today of incredibly powerful poetry. So we'll just get started. Is Io here? I don't see Io. Ayula Amale? How about Manaz? Manaz Zakirian? He hasn't arrived yet. The poets who arrive later will just come on at the very end. Then we're Lisbeth. Lisbeth, you're the first reader. That makes you the first reader today.
I'm here. Okay. My poem is called As the Manta Rays Danced. To Mother Earth, your heart is immortal. Wind is your breath. Water is your blood. Land is your flesh. Springing to life again, you divined us, the doubly wise man. A brimming rebirth, our needs fulfilled by your gifts. We feasted on fishes and beasts as the manta rays were dancing in your brine. Lulled by your rhythms, we believed your meandering was indifference. We flowed over you, thirsty for more. We colonized, industrialized, invented the quackery of race. In a millennial moment, we seeped into your breath, blood, and flesh. Algae, coral, and kelp ebbing in your seas. Plankton imbibing microplastics in your abyss. Extreme weather is your Mayday, while doubly wise man is in control. Still, we refute our influence, invent ways of rescuing you for material gain. We poured down on you, but you've survived extinctions. Mother Earth, divert the reservoir of your strength so the oceans will dance with life again.
Our next reader is Kemblin Tanbape, if I've pronounced your name correctly.
It's perfect, except you did it so German. And it's actually Bappy, and it rhymes with happy because I'm usually happy unless I'm not. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. Thank you for the permission to do so. My presentation is called Tiger Trilogy, and thank you for the opportunity to share this poem, this triptych with you all. Who, Tiger. 两只老虎，两只老虎，跑得快，跑得快。一只没有眼睛，一只没有耳朵，真奇怪，真奇怪。Three little tigers, they run fast, they run fast. One tiger has no eyes, one tiger has no ears. How strange, how very strange. Wild spaces, once. Places across, expands over our world, now ever shrinking, diminishing rainforests, oceans, once teeming with an array of life. Now the extinct list grows exponentially. In my short lifetime, other species barely hang on a thread. I mourn you, splendid. Poison frog, spit macaw, northern white rhinoceros, Baiti, Pyrean ibex, western black rhinoceros, the passenger pigeon, the quagga, our recent casualties resulting from the sins of human commission and omission. Lord, we have failed you as stewards of Eden. I am the worst of all, for it is from the barrels of my ancestors' gun that claimed the life of Singapore's last tiger. Top 10 reasons why you shouldn't pull the trigger. 1, hey, I didn't eat them. It was my cousin twice removed. 2, it's rather unsportsmanlike. I was napping by Chua Chu Kang Road. 3, coolies, impossible. They are not my cup of tea. Pompous English muffins. Did I tell you I'm definitely a vegetarian? 4, I'm adorable. Look at these big, cute cat eyes. 5, do you really want to go down in history as the one who killed off the last tiger? 6, shouldn't we follow the diplomatic process? 7, surely you wouldn't shoot an unarmed tiger? 8, I have connections with renowned poets. My friend knows William Blake. 9, let's bring in an interpreter. You clearly do not grasp tiger or our culture. 10, if man cannot live by bread alone, how can a tiger do the same? I am the man. I was man enough to pull the trigger, triggering future hate poems in generations to come. Come, be reasonable. Reasons. Stop staring at me. I needed a tiger pelt with glass eyes now staring at me through nightmares, nights filled with new full arousal, roused with essence brewed from tiger's paw and dried penises. It's all for posterity, for progeny, for populating our country. I tell you, stop staring at me. Damn your glass eyes. It was worth it. I am worth it. I am the man. I am the man. I am the man. Thank you.
Are you Amale? Just
yes, please. I'm Amale. Thank
Amale?
you. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So,
The earth, our mother calls us, with her outstretched arms to restore our peace, to heal us from wounds, to bring back our joy from woes, away from numb forests crowning the town, dead choirs, rotten skeletons, struggling dust load. The earth knows all about us, ransomed to death, about how our minds made shackles, about how we depend on the power as deep breath flowing out, land ruin, decayed souls turn in the long streets. War, we must stop wars. We must stop heating the earth, ecosystems, mountains, of wide-legged tulip ants on dead mountains, haunt halls of afflictions with pandemics, the conjugal symmetry, plagues, drunken capitalist beasts breeding, laws and inequality like fire burning souls of deep reckless assault, our extinction. Our irresponsibility is like with yellow taxi cab noises, filled with babies on a ride to the beach of desert sand dunes. The ones that exist and the ones that don't exist, and making all true, that always says something deep.
Judith Ian Bernhard. You're muted, Judith.
I know.
Oh.
The rain in Spain. The rain in Spain may fall mainly on the plain, but in California now, it feels like it's never going to rain again. Here, the air is as dry as Ebenezer's eye, and the bone-weary wind will return once again to heat up our dreams. Soon an ugly orange haze will fill up the air as smoke from wildfires invades our lives through our clothes and our hair. Do we have to stop living in faraway forests or sit and wait for rising waters to devour and destroy us? Or can we work together to change things around and fix the planet from the skies to the ground?
Christina Brown.
Boom. Dedicated to the people of Ukraine who resisted invasion as I wrote, and now as I read. Boom, 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 boom. The heat is on. The planet is hot and growing hotter. Forests burn and glaciers crack. Everywhere, all over the world, we hear the sound of marching boots and of lives. Boom, 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 boom. Rivers run dry, but the words of strong men, dictators, and entrepreneurs flow, feed anger, paranoia, and hatred. Oceans rise, cliffs crumble, cities drown. The tyrants talk law and order, chaos and control, crime and punishment. They paint refugees and desperate immigrants as prone to violence. Spin delusions of difference and separation, of superior blood, whether Anglo-Saxon or Slavic or Han Chinese. Boom, 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 boom. Crops fail and deserts spread. People starve. Tyrants talk of the untrustworthy others. People who aren't the right color, don't practice the right religion, speak the right language, think the right thoughts. Whatever the dictator says, those are. Boom, 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 boom. Storms kill ancient trees, scour hillsides of every living thing. Prisons fill, re-education camps, detention camps pop up all over, from China to Italy, from the US to Brazil. Maybe not death camps, maybe not places of mass murder yet, but dangerous places where many people die. Boom, 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 boom. Recording every move, every blink, the technology of surveillance, manipulation by machine and algorithm makes close control of minds and bodies cheap and easy. Boom, 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 boom. Putin invades Ukraine, waits until after the Genocide Olympics as a courtesy to Xi. Lies proliferate, killers and liars rule, wars rage, wars that pretend to be about religion or language, but provide the pretext for ripping off resources like Ukrainian wheat fields and rare metals. World War isn't here yet. The new colonialism still hides. We have not been divided by brute force, not yet. But the rhetoric of race, religion, national identity eats up. And so does the planet. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you.
Manaz Bahirian.
Can you hear me, John?
Yes.
Okay. John, I am going to actually read a new poem that I wrote because as most of you know, there is an uprising in Iran and Iran government killed a girl, young girl called Mahsa. It is all over the news. So I'm going to read, this is not going to take more than 3 minutes. I'm going to read the new poem in Farsi, then in English. So I'm dedicating this to Mahsa Amini and all the women in Iran and around the world. Mahsa Jan, خون تو در قلب غمگین ما شقایق شد. تو رفتی به دورترین ستاره ها. تو دنبال کاروان قهرمانان بودی. تو رفتی و قلب ملتی گاهواره تو شد. و از خود پرسیدیم ما کجا بودیم که دست اجنبی تو را بود. ما کجا بودیم که دشمن دست برد به گیسوان بلندت. ما کجا بودیم وقتی تو فریاد میزدی. حالا تو رفته ای و هر تار موی تو پرچم شجاعت شده است. Now that was part of the Farsi version. I'm going to read the English version. Beloved Mahsa, your blood turned to red poppies in our heart. You landed on the distant stars. You were looking for a convoy of heroes. You're gone, and the heart of a nation became your cradle, asking ourselves, where were we when the hands of barbarians snatched you? Where were we when the enemy touched your long tresses? Where were we when you were screaming? Now you're gone, and each strand of your hair became a freedom flag. How can one see your red blood seeping through your ear and not tied to the eternity of the roses? But you haven't left. Your name is a magic of endurance. Mahsa, Mahsa, you are the beginning and criminals are the end. You are cascading waterfall in the heart of the Kurdistan mountains, and your roaring cypress on the streets of Tehran. Mahsa, daughter of Iran, your innocent name is eternal. Thank you so much for letting me read this poem. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yolanda Casalco.
Esto difícil de escribir. Esto difícil de escribir. ¿Qué ha sucedido con la sociedad de América de San Francisco en los Estados Unidos? Un hombre sin vivienda, desamparado, durmiendo en su saco de dormir, alguien lo quemó. Mientras dormía en su bolsa de dormir, un viernes por la mañana del 8 de octubre, el siguiente martes murió. Aún más difícil de comprender, murió en las calles 25 y Sabanés, 2 cuadras y medio de donde vivo. Una calle de distancia de donde un carro me atropelló en la calle 26 y Surbanés el lunes, el 13 de septiembre, entre las 8 y las 8:15 de la mañana, cuando yo caminaba de una esquina a la otra esquina, la misma calle, con la luz verde. Yo le echo la culpa al aparato estatal, nacional, etcétera, por sus posiciones en contra de los desamparados, los pobres. Es difícil caminar entre tanto dolor en el corazón, tragedia y fascismo. Pero tenemos que luchar contra la propaganda fascista corporativa, luchar con el conocimiento que el futuro está en nuestras manos. Escriban, lean, aboguen defendiendo el derecho de los pobres, los sin techo, los desamparados a la vida. No podemos continuar como especie, sino exigimos que las representantes gubernamentales elegidos a todos los niveles alojan a los desamparados. This hard to write poem. This hard to translate, to write what has become of society, of America, of San Francisco and the United States. A homeless man defenseless, sleeping in his sleeping bag. Somebody burned him, asleep in a sleeping bag on Friday morning, the 8th of October. He died out the following Tuesday. Even harder to come to grips, it happened on 25th and South Van Ness, 2.5 blocks from where I live, a block away from where I was struck by a car on 26th and South Van Ness, Monday morning, September 13, between 8 and 8:15 a.m. when I was walking halfway on the crosswalk with a green light. I blame the state apparatus and the capitalist class for the anti-homeless, anti-poor hysteria propaganda. It's hard walking amidst so much heartache, tragedy, and fascism. Yet we have to counter the fascist propaganda, fight with the knowledge that the future is up to us. Write, read, speak, advocate, defend the right of the poor, the unhoused, the defenseless to life. We can't continue as a species otherwise. Demand the government elected officials at all levels house the homeless.
Thank you, Yolanda. Our next reader is Bobby here, Bobby Coleman. I don't see you there, so hope you'll arrive later. Then that takes us to Franz Colm and Barbara Boschke. So Barbara.
Are we showing the film of Francis?
Yes, I'm going to do a share screen and show the Francis has a okay, let me find it here now. Okay, here it is.
Hi from Paris, for everybody. Le poète est un communiste. Tout poète, même s'il l'ignore, même s'il le refuse, tout poète est un communiste. Tout poète, partout et toujours, dit que le monde, la terre et les mers, les arbres, les oiseaux, les villes, et tout ce qu'elles contiennent, même les palais, les Champs-Élysées, les ponts sur la Seine, le sourire des femmes, même celles qui ne sont pas la tienne, mais en vérité aucune ne t'appartient, Et le sourire des enfants, et celui des hommes, et le regard des bêtes, tout, la terre entière, le monde et ses saisons, l'automne et ses richesses, l'hiver et ses plaisirs, le printemps ses promesses, l'été et ses moissons, tout est à nous. Tout ce que nous ne possédons pas, par les pouvoirs que nous confèrent l'imagination, la poésie et le rêve nécessaire de l'humanité, tout nous appartient, et nous appartenons à tout. Toute la vie sur Terre est notre affaire, et nous répondons de tout. Tout est à nous, et partout et toujours, tout nous est à partager.
Great. Yeah, no, that was a treat. I'm always happy to read the French, but it's great to have. I wish we were here in person, but it's good to hear his voice. The poet is a communist. Every poet, even if he doesn't know it, and even if he denies it, every poet is a communist. Every poet, always and everywhere, says that the world, the earth, and the oceans, the trees, the birds, the cities, and all they include, even the Palais, the Champs-Élysées, the bridges on the Seine, the smiles of women, even those who are, and the smiles of children, and those of men, and the looks of the animals, everything, the entire earth, the world and its seasons, autumn and its riches, winter and its pleasures, spring, its promises, summer and its harvests. Everything is ours. Everything we don't have by the powers that give us imagination, poetry, and the vital dream of humanity. Everything belongs to us, and we belong to everything. All life on earth is our business. Everything speaks to us, and we respond to everything. Everything is ours, and always and everywhere. Everything is for us to share. Thank you, Francis.
So our next reader is Kitty Costello.
Hello, friends. Deep bows to all the poets and editors and translators and rabble rousers. This is Blind Spots. Where we do not want to look is a tomb we must jump into, a well we must throw ourselves down with no guarantee of ever hitting water. Pitiful small hands try to push blood back into heads that are bleeding onto the street, try to push bullets back into the barrels of guns. Not a single voice cries out as everyone walks the wrong road together just for the company, a shifting of bones within skins. The pillows are fluffed up too large, the heads propped away from the bodies. No one monitors the dream worlds. Some are caught sleeping on their feet. The world fills with synthetic dirt, with plastic aquarium plants. The eyes of fishes swell, birds unscrew themselves from the sky, and still we walk upright as if everywhere legs had not been lost to landmines. In bed, we somehow still reach our lips out for kisses. Some eyes break, won't blink. Those few go sane, rise fiercely from the sheets, step straight to the edge of the volcano, and witness the fire without falling in.
Thank you, Kitty. Thank you very much. So next on our list is Romeo Cruz. I don't see Romeo here, so if he shows up later, he'll fit in where he goes. And actually, I'm I'm the next reader, so let me just get my poem here. She said, he said. Don't worry about trying to fix it, he said. We've destroyed this world past redemption, beyond habitability. It's dead, murdered. Our task now is to leave and colonize another planet. Wow. He really said that. Seriously. He imagines heroically saving humanity from extinction by escaping to some spacesuit utopia in the stars. That is the Puritan's eye, escaping the corrupt old world, reinventing yourself in a new city on a hill in an imagined tabula rasa, the eye of the imperialist, dreaming that there is always some new pristine place to start over again and plunder, even now when people have plundered and pillaged the entire earth, and there is no place left here to plunder. Then go if you must, she said, to your own suicide, but don't expect me to buy you that spaceship. Even if life really did come here long ago from the stars, she said, and even if that means we are star people too, even so, we have been here so long. We are now and forever Earth people, and this Earth does not belong to us. We belong to her. This planet is not an object we can use, abuse, discard like so much garbage. Our task now is not to escape, but to stay right here, to hold fast to Earth, to learn to live here, to protect her. We are now and forever inseparable from her, our wild, watery habitat, our precious green mother. The next reader is Amit Dahiya Badshah. Amit?
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
The Nilgiri Mountains. Nilgiri Mountains, vast, eternal, blue bosom, eternal. We are come to adore the essence of all that was before. Prodigals can't cease, we must seek with tired minds and eyes grown weak. The milk of life flow over your breast in Shola stream and glade and nest. Somewhere in here lies an umbilical cord, cut by wire, word and sword. Over 20 millennia or so ago, as we stole and fled from nature's door. Now the seeds of time and grain is spent. With harvests of corn, the land is rent. To seek forgiveness, to thieves return. Our sins go on, but still we yearn. To raise an offering of sweat to the height of a hill. To touch a high mountain meadow with the greening of will. To taste a sundown sink stream with the thirst of ages. To pick a small, perfect flower and read it like pages. To offer warm breath to a cold morning star. I have some interruption. I mean, do you want me to not read? There's chat, voice chat. John?
Well, you know, do whatever you see fit. Do whatever you see fit.
I'll just do a poem called The Last Will of the Tiger. When you have stolen my skin from my entity and removed the roar from my life, O hunter, wield the skinning knife with some grace. a little skill. But I too have hunted and killed many, many, many times, but every kill was a prayer and praise of the Creator. My movements were always quick, clean, merciful. Such is the way of true believers. But do you now, hunters, slice, slash, and cut clean? I pray only that you leave no part of me behind to be eaten by the jackal and the hyena. For I have ruled this forest on behalf of the Creator himself, and there is no honor in a king becoming carrion. So take the sacred color from my coat, send it back to the maker of sunset. So take the sacred color from my coat, send it back to the maker of sunset. Take the darkness of my stripe and return it to the shadow and the undergrowth, for that is where it was obtained. Take the white from the fur of my belly and send it back to a new ice age that it returned to avenge me. Send my roar back to my maker, that he fill the heavens with my rage at this shabby end for a true king ordained by God himself. Send my claws to the young of the rich and the highborn to save them from their own nightmares. Send my teeth to Tibet that their aspirations for freedom find new teeth. Send my bones to China that they find a cure for the fear that builds such great walls. Send my fat to Singapore that they learn to make a balm that is mine, not merely a name. Send my shit to the alchemists, for that is the only substance they have not yet tried in their efforts to invent gold. Give my entrails to whoever shall have them. But hang on to my eyes, you puny murderer, that your tribe might know that you did not fell a creature beneath you, that I looked you in the eye and did not flinch when you struck me. Instead, I am turned away, relieved from the cancer of your footprint.
Thank you, Ami. Our next reader is Carol Denny.
Okay, can you hear me? I assume you can hear me.
Yes, so we can hear you.
Great. Okay, this is called Internet Sensation. And I wrote it after receiving a poem from Gary Hicks, one of our great poets locally and a part of our group. A poet sent me lyrics through the internet, and I pressed my printer button and they came blue out of the printer like a hard wind. And I taped them to the phone poles with his name. The night moved aside and said, "So serious. Are you sure you want to drink it all the way?" And I said, "So simple. Just come with me." And the night walked right beside me until day. Now, all the poles in town are speaking poetry. They think that's what it is, and so do I. Everybody's walking backwards, trying to read it all, trying to dance around the poles and trying to fly. I love it when they ask, "Are you serious?" There's nothing that makes me laugh so hard. Thanks.
Thank you, Carol. Our next reader is Agneta Falk.
Hello. Cold, but it should be warm. The wind out there is banging around, bending everything furiously in its way. The weather, like people, are on the move. It's warm, but it should be cold. Wet, where it should be dry, and snows piling up in places that never saw snow. But unlike these people, storms have names. Carla, Dora, Frederick, Hattie, Hortense, Ivan, Jones, Stan, Roxanne, Klaus, and the formidable Katrina. It took 25 years to tear down the Berlin Wall. Now pieces of that wall hang in deafening silence in museums around the world. No one knows the face of this war as it glides over the accelerating landscape, crushing everything in its way. Roads and the seas fleeing people. And who is fighting whom, and who is who, and where to, and why did it happen there and not here? And should I lock my door now before it's too late? But isn't it already too late? Somebody's got the foot in my door, and my door is no longer my door. And no matter how many new walls go up, people will keep on coming. Nothing can stop fear from moving to safer land. And nothing is safer than keeping your door open to those who are on the wrong side of a border, whose only hope is your outstretched arms.
Thank you, Aggie, so much. That brings us to Karen Melander Magoon.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I'll have to leave right after this, so thank you very much. My poem is Methane and Tears. Can you hear me? I think so. Now bubbling up in shallow lakes or Puget Sound, bubbling from seismic plates, over-rich in nutrition, undernourished in oxygen, overnourished in algae, bubbling up from melting ice, once solid Arctic masses melting frozen earth, centuries-old natural gas, methane endangering our air, eutrophy of our planet, smothering away life, smothering away oxygen, gradually asphyxiating our world. The ocean cries for you. The rivers and their tributaries weep into your soul. The stars sing to you, dropping slowly into the night ocean, as drops extinguish their song. The moon crowns you with its light, wrapping you in song and sorrow, flowing from its heart of music and weeping, rising in the night, sinking slowly against the damp dawn, pulling tides of tears.
Thank you so much, Karen. Next reader on our list is Mauro Fortissimo, but I don't think he's here. So we'll fit him in later on if and when he gets here. So at this point, I am going to give the moderator job over to Christina Brown. So all yours, Christina.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to promptly begin with our first poet, Mark Fishman. I don't know if Mark is here. Our next poet, Bruce Isaacson. Okay, our next poet, who I do know is here. And I apologize if I
Christina, excuse me. I'm sorry, Bruce is here.
Right here. Bruce is here. In that case, Bruce, my apologies. Please go forward.
No apology necessary. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege to read with among so much wonderful poetry, great poetry, and really happy anthology. From the artist's studio. In her studio, the painted bear is bigger than good or evil or any televised tap dance at truth. Now, The top of the world is a snow cone, a chunk of shaved ice dripping sweet, chocolatey minerals to ships below. A vision both beautiful and savage, as a murder mystery where the corpse is laid out on a banquet table. The painted bear looks at us calmly, but without understanding. Finally, we understand. Finally, the hand of God is seen as the hand of man, a narcissus, an obsessive itch we can't scratch. The end time is not atom bomb, not genetic mutation. It is knowledge turned to power, turned to madness. God hath given us dominion, or we know we're important. Look, we're on television. We are the show that is canceling ourselves. Mutant cells eating the host. We're the alpha, the omega, the be-all and end. Nature was better than a garden. Bears were not good or evil. They were ferocious and magnificent. There is no place left for bears. We roar like bears at one another instead. The new prophecy to justify the ways of man to God. Do what thou wilt. The modern prophet said, and so people have. Sometimes the artists catch a flash, a little glint of something more, and try to get it on television, next to stock footage of polar bears floating, stranded on ice.
Thank you, Bruce. Our next poet is Marcos de Sousa Friadas.
Thank you. I read. Olhe para cima e em todas as direções. Ao artista plástico e ativista ambiental Tisna Sanjaya. Sitar River. Os peixes poluídos do rio Citarum dividem espaços e oxigênios da água com as pilhas e garrafas de plásticos. Crianças em saltos plásticos mergulham em meio dos plásticos. Crianças em barcos de alumínio catam para venda latas de alumínios e plásticos. Os peixes poluídos do rio Citarum dividem espaços e oxigênios da água com as pilhas de garrafas de plásticos. Nas margens e nos pilares de plásticos agarram-se enxurradas de plásticos coloridos, galhos, vasilhames, carcaças de boi e sofás. Campos de arroz contaminados, turbilhões de líquidos despejados de fábricas têxteis. Os peixes poluídos do rio Citarum dividem espaços e oxigênios da água com as pilhas e garrafas de plásticos. Quantos outros rios, mundo afora, são também rios de plásticos? 2. Lagoas marginais do rio Poti. Os aguapés e os sapos não moram mais nas lagoas. Os aguapés e os sapos não moram mais nas lagoas. Essas quedam soterradas exatamente onde ergueram-se luxuosos shopping centers e ventilados apartamentos com varandas amplas, de onde se pode contemplar o majestoso pôr do sol, o resplandecente tapete verde de aguapés, sempre bem alimentado pelos esgotos não tratados. Os aguapés e os sapos não moram mais nas lagoas. Os aguapés e os sapos não moram mais nas lagoas. 3. Conversas de louco ritmada pelo bater de asas de borboletas azuis. Solitário Du faz ninho na barranca do Rio da Cerca. Tendo água, somente 0,8% de água será absorvida. O pato mergulhão ainda vive na floresta de cabeça para baixo. O cerrado tem papel central na distribuição das águas. A celulose de florestas plantadas gera papel para o noticiário e novos livros. Os corais do Pacífico estão perdendo a cor rapidamente. A anchova é prejudicada pelo aumento da temperatura do mar. Efeito estufa, desertificação, de gelo, aerosóis. Cantos de cigarra anunciam as chuvas vindouras. Urso polar é encontrado com fome a 800 quilômetros do seu habitat natural. No Xingu, cacique tenta manter viva a língua Walapiti. No chão, as folhas secas do outono são pisadas por tênis de palmilhas recicladas a partir de plásticos marinhos. 4. enquadramento de um novo dia. Por mais que a gente tente, o mundo continuará a girar. Por mais que a gente o represe, o rio sempre chegará ao mar. And I will try to read in English. Look up in all directions to Indonesian artist and environment activist Tisna Sanjaya. First, Citern River. The Citern River polluted fish share space and oxygen from water with stack of plastic barrels. Children in plastic jump dive among the plastic. Children in aluminum boats collect aluminum cans and plastic for sale. The Citern River polluted fish share space and oxygen from water with stack of plastic barrels. On the banks and on the pile of bridge flood clean colorful plastic trays contain ox carcass and sofas, contaminate rice fields, warrows of liquid borrows from textile factories. The Citern River polluted fish share space and oxygen from water with stacks of plastic bottles. How many other rivers around the world are also plastic rivers? 2. Puti River marginal ponds. Water hyacinth and frogs no longer live in ponds. Water hyacinth and frogs no longer live in ponds. They fall birds exactly where they rose, luxurious shopping mall and ventilated apartment with large balcony from where you can contemplate the majestic sunset, the resplendent green carpet of water hyacinth, always well fed by untreated sewage. All water hyacinth and frog no longer live in ponds. Water hyacinth and frog no longer live in ponds. Crazy talk reached by the beating of blue butterfly wings. A solitary Amazonia moth makes his net on the banks of the Seca River. If it's rain, only 0.18% of the water will be absorbed. The Brazilian gans still live in the so-called upside-down forest. The savanna has a central role in distribution of the water. Pulp from planted forest generate newspaper and news books. Pacific coral are rapidly losing color. Anchovy is harmed by rising sea temperature. Greenhouse effect, desertification, down, aerosol. Cicada chants herald the coming rain. Polar bear is found hungry 800 kilometers from its natural habitats. In the Xingu, chiefs try to keep the Walapti language alive. On the ground, dry outing living are tempered by sneaker with recycled marine plastic soil. 4. Flame a new day. No matter how hard we try, the world will keep on turning. No matter how much we dam it, the river will always reach the sea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcos. Our next poet is Everett Hogland. Everett?
I don't see him here.
In that case, our next poet is Antonella Iashi, please.
I don't think she's here either.
Okay. In that case, our next piece is by Jack Hirschman, and it will be read by Agneta Falk.
F.
Agneta? Yes, you're up for Jack's piece.
Was musst du denn anklicken, wenn sie dich neu aufrufen?
You're muted, Aggie. Oh, there you go.
Jack. The house of the setting sun. Become a rag again, and the poorest may wave you, per Paolo Pasolini, to the red flag. I put my mouth to your misery, New Orleans, inundated and soaking with death. Here lies, war lies piled so high, this floating prison of a cemetery cries out of rage. At the end of its breath, here in the last delta, desire lie on its side as rolled and rolled over upon by its government and crushed. Summertime is over and the living is dead. Around midnight, all hopes are looted. No one will come clean of the Katrina of New Orleans in this sinking house of the setting sun. Bodies so black and so blue from loving, what wouldn't spit on their shoes if they needed a shine, let alone a dime or water. America, you were always scorched earth in our mouth, always a baptism of crap, always a rain of disaster streaming down the panes of our broken eyes. Now our rags are the most torn, our dust the most blue, our poor, the poorest, that can be worn in the soul's thrift shop. Now that all is lost and there is only nothing to lose. Long live the courage and the sorrow and the innocence of the poor. The real flag is in tatters. Begin to wave it.
Thank you, Aggie. Our next poet up is Ziba Karbasi.
I don't see him here, Christina.
In that case, Elliot Katz.
I skipped over somebody. Please look at the chats.
Hi, everyone. This poem is called Thinking About Emptiness from North America's Skull, a poem from Nose Mountain in the Canadian Rockies forests where my partner, the writer Vivian Demuth, worked as a fire lookout for over 20 summers. Over the horizon bright, jagged bolts of white lightning are thrown like javelins from the top of the continent. Where are they landing? Nowhere. Who is throwing those electrified spears? No one. Outside the cabin window after the storm, the tops of some of the mountain's evergreen trees have become a dirty orange, as if they were ever orange trees. I wonder what natural processes or acts of industry have turned the tops of these trees orange. Is industry a part of nature's course? From the edge of the mountain, I see dozens of oil rigs dot the landscape. Even 3 or 4 years ago, I could only see 1 or 2. What license from the galaxy could give oil and gas companies the right to despoil Canada's boreal forest? Could a business contract give that right? Who will stop the logging industry's ever widening clear cuts? Is it possible that trees exploit us like this in another universe? At 11 p.m., the sun has gone down and the treetops look green again. What kept me from seeing what was there? What in this cabin window creates illusion? With record-breaking heat, the fire lookouts are on extreme hazard all week. They are calling smoke locations into the radio all day and through the night. Are there really other humans listening at another end of the radio? Who heard Vivian call in that smoky ridge? If she didn't see it, would someone else? On the FM radio, I listen to local gossip, no war talk. The disaster in Iraq must be over up here. For global warming, the locals know it's past the tipping point. At midnight, it finally gets dark. Soon all appearances will vanish. Good night, Vivian. Good night, Elliot. With luck, we'll all meet again in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. I would now like to call a poet who was somehow left out in the earlier group, Carlos Duflar.
Yes,
Yeah, fixed.
Oh, it's already fixed. Yeah, you're on.
One must have justice to give justice, and may the truth of Leonard Peltier set him free. It is dawn, the rise of life in our planet. Songs of joy from the heart of Mother Earth. The moon, the sky, the stars, the air, the planet, the animals, the fish. The food to feed the people, and now the signs of stormy weather that lays ahead. The floods, the fire, the rising of pollution, the water, the air pollution, the rising tears of sea level, global warming, poison affecting people's lives. Let us join in a circle from the lies and the madness of the vast silence for victory over the greedy. To save our planet, the earth is our planet, and the rulers of this earth are not man, but it's earth. To stop mass destruction, who lives not in harmony will fade like the wind on this sunny autumn afternoon. I followed my footprints to the Ashford Cook Stream, Clips Valley, along the Mohegan Mohawk trails. While the raven flies above, I have made my pilgrimage to Spirit Mountain, sitting in the top and listening to Richie Havens sing, "Here Comes the Sun, It's All Right." Remember an old friend and a sage, Chief Falling Wind, marching for justice to inherit the freedom of the earth. With Martin Luther King in the Poor People's Campaign of 1968, marching down the streets of Washington, D.C., and rallying in the Supreme Court for Mother Earth, compassion, for love and understanding.
Thank you, Carlos. I would now like to call Jenny Lim.
After the rain, can we not see beauty till we let go our hold of it? Rabindranath Tagore. The sun descended on the land. A spark fell, alighting broom brush and sugar pine. The forest ignited like a moth in flames. Evergreens crackled, rooftops crashed. Men beat back flames under burning sequoias, slumped like amputees. The wail and cries of bears, coyote, horses, deer echoed over 4 million acres, over 10,000 homes. Only chimneys left standing, stairs leading nowhere, paradise buried in ashes. Those who hadn't left were trapped, exhausted, homeless, emptied of care or blame. Far from birds and flocks and old memories, would the next architect resurrect from the empty grave a replica of what once was? The fugitives pray for rain to extinguish the last embers of attachment, so that nature might reveal herself as the goddess of mercy before the next strike of the match. After the campfire, Cal Fire, Inyo Creek, SCU, August, LNU Lightning, Thomas, Rattlesnake, Interstate 5, North Complex, Ben, Carr, Zaka, and Pass, the Cruz, Soledad, Mineral, Coyote, Hog, Gold, July, blue jay, red salmon, brandy, apple, pond, north, stagecoach, wolf, lake, ranch, hills, Loyalton, beaver, river, dome, CZU, lightning, willow, peak, mosquito, Dutch, calder, lava fires, the rats scatter. Memories, plans, passports, dreams, last will and testaments, old and new growth, gone up in smoke, in what's become an annual ritual sacrifice. A melody drifts into the fog as we look up at the scarred yet consoling starry night. Yeah, life ain't all it's cracked up to be, but love in the aftermath of loss will grace the first buds of purple sky lupin poking their heads from earth with tiny sprouts of aspens reaching for the light. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. I would like to call up next D.L. Lang.
In the name of profit, the earth burns. On the news, we watch them go to space, searching for planets on which to escape, burning up fuel at exorbitant rates, as if there was no holes in the ozone layer. Capitalists encourage endless growth, except when it comes to human welfare. They sell us lies and sow division, just so they can keep a high dividend. Their lips preach democracy and freedom, yet no one is free under the yoke of greed. They force us all to live in austerity when we have the resources for prosperity. They do not build products to last. So many objects wind up in the trash. They use this planet like a dumpster and deny the human consequences. They dump pollutants into our rivers and then sell what's left to us in a bottle. They make toxic the very air that we breathe just to make some new tchotchkes. They buy up companies and patents that could provide us with solutions just to shut down all production so they can maintain their profits. They steal resources from across the world, ensuring that other nations remain poor. They avoid providing for all humankind while building bombs and starting wars. While the earth burns, the capitalists hoard, not caring about the struggling masses. Such chaos they sow in the name of profit. It's about time we did something to stop it. So many problems could be solved if we put aside the earth's exploitation to rebuild this and every nation, to serve its people with compassion. We can build a brand new world where the needs of all humanity are met, instead of succumbing to these fascists who mindlessly destroy our only planet. We must act now before it is too late. We will have a world without greed and hate. Thank you.
Thank you, DL. Our next reader is Anne Leonard.
Hi, this is a Mission Street fire. From La Panaderia's dusty windows just off Mission, I gazed at the crater, the charred timbers, twisted metal remains extracted, now just a deep socket, where the 1907 Wedding Cake Hotel had gone up in a 4-alarm fire, flames leaping and ripping, exploding out windows, woodwork and glass hurled to the ground. And I remembered the Los Vulnerables, the trio of women I'd seen every day near the hotel's front doors, broken, fragile, surviving, the small spark within still gleaming, their sole blessing, a roof over their heads in the worn-out hotel. The three vulnerables, living embodiments of the fate-spoken words, the unfolding of tragedy on America's mean streets, awash with hard poverty. And I remembered Rosamunda thrown from a window by a man in a meth rage, now with their walker wearing a slip, a frail wraith on the streets, barefoot and begging, holding out her hand, "Help me, I'm hungry." The toothless chanting ringing out, Rosamunda beseeching again and again, "Help me, please, help me." And I'd last seen laughing Alba from a passing bus, how she'd love to dance and drink. But now she lay with her long hair in the gutter, her legs spread in the street, blacked out where any car could crush her. She was dressed in peasant ruffles. It was Carnival week. And I'd heard Denise at the Mercado just before the fire, her eyes wide as she whispered, "The cops, they found friend Keisha in the alley by the hotel, a spike in one arm and a fresh gash in the other. And you know what that means." She stepped back. "But don't you worry about me now. I ain't going nowhere because I've had my day in the sun and I can remember. No, I ain't ready to check out yet." Rosamunda, Elba, Denise, their home, the hotel burnt to the ground. Where are they now and the dozens of others? Are they living in tents or in boxes or asleep in a culvert out at the beach? The Los Vulnerables, where are they? I'll stand up and ask the developers, the landlords, the politicians who crown themselves kings. The fates of our century, spinning the tragedy, measuring the portions, men who make themselves rich at the expense of the poor, are most vulnerable. I'm asking, where are they now? What will you do?
Thank you, Anne. Our next reader is Mark Littman.
Well, hi, everyone. Greetings from Macedonia. She was born innocent enough, 18th down the list. Cassandra, also known as Hurricane Sandy. Tropical depression, an improbable left turn, dangerous transformation, waters warmer than normal, growing effects of the global, the worst of nature combined as one, red flag warnings, high altitude jet streams, surging waves, skeptics aware too late. Low-lying lands give way to the fuddled mass of nature, concentrated unto the weakest points, screams for help as they pull the plug, submerging the city into darkness, explosions and sweeping fires light the sky in red and orange, ships thrown shore, homes tumbled over, and the poor, as always, swept away and forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our next reader, Angelina Longueros.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fugida. Sols vaig escapar, vaig ser llesta i vaig marxar. No us podia aguantar més, no hi hauria cap després. Me'n vaig anar. Em vaig acostumar a no fer-vos cas, a no donar un mal pas. Em vaig alliberar a un preu ben car. Em vaig desarrelar. Vaig deixar anar. Vaig desaprendre a estimar. Vaig fugir sense pensar. Escape. I escaped from you. I was clever and I left. I couldn't stand you any longer. There wouldn't be any afterwards. I went away. I got used to not pay attention to you, to not take a bad step. I got free at a high price. I uprooted myself. I let it go. I unlearned to love. I escaped without a thought.
Thank you, Angelina. Our next poet is Oscar Locatelli, please. Is Oscar here?
I don't think he's here, but Zeba came in, so you want to try to fit him in somewhere.
Okay, why don't we do Zeba right now? Zeba Karbasi?
Sorry, there is a problem with my computer. I'm going out and come back again in 5 minutes.
Okay, we will go on to another poet. Thank you, Zeba. Next up, Anna Lombardo. Anna?
Hi. Non riesco a respirare sotto queste ginocchia che molestano l'aria.
Non posso ridere, sotto questo sinistro cielo, droni cambiano le mie nuvole in bombe. Nessuno ascolta il fremito delle foglie, delle foreste ridotte ad aridi campi. E la madreterra è sopraffatta, e le pance di molti ancora vuote lungo strade e vicoli, e troppi cadaveri galleggiano sopra quel mare rosso vino, e molti altri cadono da impalcature, altri ancora restano in fila per una briciola di pane, perché tu e tu e tu, imperial capital fascista misoginista, sei ancora avido e presente. No, non riesco a respirare, ma io lo voglio adesso, ne ho bisogno. Sorelle e fratelli, mostriamo loro quanto lungo e profumato sia il nostro respiro. Lasciamo che esso indichi la strada e come nuovo Mosè apra sentieri verso quell'altra area nuova, più giovane e fresca, la nostra. I cannot breathe under their knees that arrest the air. I cannot laugh under this sinister sky. Drones change my clouds into bombs. Nobody listens to the trembling of the leaves of the forests, reduced to arid fields. And Mother Earth is overwhelmed, and the bellies of many still empty along the streets and alleys. And too many corpses float above that sea red wine. And many others fall from scaffolding, and still others remain lined up for a crumb of a bread. Because you and you and you, imperial capital fascist misogynist, you are still greedy and present. No, I cannot breathe, but I want it now. I need it. Sisters and brothers, let's show them how much may our breath be long and fragrant. Let it lead the way, and like new Moses, open paths towards this other new air, younger and fresher, ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Our next poet, Kurt Lumpkin.
I don't see him here.
In that case, I would like to, has Mark Fishman appeared?
No, but I think Zeba might be back.
All right. Zeba, are you ready to read?
Not at the moment. Can you please leave for another half an hour, maybe, if you can? Thank you.
We're sorry that your technical problems are continuing. You are the last person, the last reader on my list. So I'm now going to be handing over the emceeing to my fellow editor, Lisbeth Bailey.
Thank you. Well, carrying on, our next poet is Biplab Maji. Was here earlier. Okay.
He's here.
Oh, Biplab.
Yes.
Please.
Can you hear me?
Please read your poem.
Okay, thank you. Dream gardens. Our dream gardens are being burned one after another. We are depressed with the urn in our hands. While one thinks the theory is wrong, the other thinks that the application is wrong. Taking the sun along with the sea goes apart. And we are thinking with the YOLO sigh, where do we reach? Why there is no seagull in the sky? Where shall we start again? Who will show us the path? When will the dream gardens come out like a phoenix bird from the ashes, where we sleep in peace? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Biplab. The next poet up that I have on my list is Angel Martinez. Not sure.
She's here.
I'm here.
Oh, there, thank you.
I'm here.
Please read your poem.
I'm right here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. A memory of plagues. Mother Earth revival. I remember in the plague's early days when all the jets vanished from the sky, not a droning to be heard. If you're on the airport path, you know what I mean. I remember the whirring trucks went silent too. More diesel for free bus rides. Something I had to see with my eyes to tell you. I tell this because amid all gloom, that little hope. Even when it's hard to breathe, by smog sky, or under death squad boots, or in hospitals that close and never open. By word of the prophets, we have to fight. We have to fight. We don't need normal. We need Mother Earth renewed for our day.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next poet up is Tommy Avekigoli Mecca.
Hi, thank you. This is Junk on the Moon. They left trash among its ancient craters, almost 500,000 pounds. Containers with the excrement, the piss of astronauts, and several American flags now tattered and faded. Even a Bible in an abandoned rover. They left footprints permanently frozen into the lifeless soil of this oversized rock. This bastard child ripped from its womb without warning billions of years ago. An inspiration to poets and dreamers. A friend to the loners and the drifters. It plays tug of war with the oceans, hide and seek with the clouds. It won't be long before it's colonized, mined, its green cheese surface cut into slices thick and thin, conquered or sold or stolen, stripped of everything of value, just like the earth.
Thank you, Tommy. Ziba, are you ready? Would you like to read your poem now? You're muted.
I can. Is that possible that John will read the English from the book when I read in Farsi? Because Stephen is not with me here today. So
John, I think
the
that's...
translation is a bit difficult for me to...
Yes, I'll read the translation.
Thank you, John. Okay. انتهای بی انتهاست و از اعماق تاریک سر دانشمند جوانی سنگی پرتاب می شود و زمین تکه پاره مثل صدا که حرف را پاره می کند در دهان و زبان تا شعر شود. کتفای زمین را از دو سو بستند و بوزینه ها هورت مکشان لیلی کنان از این سو به آن سوی خواب می پرند. زانوان زمین ترک بر می دارد، شانوانش جر می خورد. حقق از گریه پرید شانه هایش کو، قاه قاه از خنده می پرد شانه هایش کو. پرنده های بی پر و پرواز رویدند از میان حقق و ترک. ای به درک بگذارید آسمان ستاره هایش را توف کند بر صورتتان. ای به درک بگذارید آفتاب روی برگرداندتان. ای به درک که کوهها عق بزنند بر سر و پیکرتان. ای به درک، ای به درک کپکان سر در بر. ای به درک رها کنید زمین زن جر خورده را رها فرو بگذاریدش. دیپان بی فردا آغوش بودم اگر آغوش بودم اگر آغوش بودم ها میفشردمش تا تیر آغوش بودم.
Thank you, Ziba. John will read the English.
To hell with it. The end of no ending. And from the inmost ache of the brain of a young inventor, a stone jerks free, and the earth breaks up in tiny pieces, tiny, tiny pieces. As a voice shattering in its semiotic stricture must, in the mouth of language, become a poem. And the shoulders of earth tighten in trauma, and the tree monkeys hopscotch from this to that side of the dream, flying. The knees of the earth splinter. The shoulders are cracked apart. The soul of sob is snapped off from sobbing. And where are the shudders? The voice of is hurled apart from laughter. And where are the shivers? The wingless, flightless birds are flocked between the cracks and the voices of weeping. To hell with it. Let the sky spit its stars in your face. To hell with it. Let the sun turn its heat from you. To hell with it. And the mountains vomit intestines over you. To hell with it. To hell with it, you bird hurled in snow for hiding. To hell with it. Leave this earth, this ripped open woman, leave her, you motherfucker, you Oedipus of no future. If I were a hug, if I were a hug, if I were a hug, I would hold this wrapped so tightly, oh, until all of it is healed over. If I were a hug.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Ziba. Up next is Sarah Menifee.
Hi, wonderful to be here. This is titled The Season I Long For, a Suite of Earthy Meditations. My young friends step out to caress the world into necessary geometries. Cosmic utopia, he said. How many different fish deities do you think there have been? Will there be rain this strange year to soak the homeless overtaken by its puddles? The season I long for is also heartless per human arrangement. In the belly of the beast, Jonah lays his meager feast. We should be gambling and playing on this planet all our lives, he said. The cast off have the wings of forbidden sleep. They flap through your dreams, the age's dearest angels, asking for nothing but the deep dignity of giving a drop to the stream of starry evolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up, we have Tarita McCall.
Hi, everyone. Trying to get everything going here. I thought it was here. Okay. Forgive me, I am having a bit of, okay.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, that it's multitasking with technology and it's decision. to do what it does. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Mm. Oh, in a moment. Okay. Got that. This, that. Okay. All right. Geez. Oh God. Forgive me. Here we go. At the Center for African American Arts and Culture, an 84-year-old African American World War II vet, husband, father, thin, tall, frail, lean, and weary-eyed, shares his experience coming home after World War II. We were proud young colored men. We fought, died, risked life and limbs to defend this country. We did it in the name of freedom. This US of A sent us to the front lines to protect this country against Nazis. America said committed crimes against humanity. Nazis did to the Jews what the KKK do to us, except they use different ways of killing us. We thought if we defeated this enemy, if we could prove ourselves good American soldiers, fight for American ideals, pledge allegiance to the US flag's one nation under God, we'd be seen as equals. There'd be no difference between us and the white Americans. When we got news the war was over, blood, bowel, flesh, blown stench still stuck in the hairs of our nose, we went from battlefields to barracks, clean up, wait for the buses to take us to the train station. Coloreds, whites, all cheering, shouting, crying, shell-shocked and segregated. We wait, pay it no, never mind, just want to get on that train, sit down to a hot meal and go home to what's left of our families. We're alive, we survived. Train whistle blows, slows to a stop, steam, heat bellowing beneath its belly, stirring the cool air, ghost-like, trying to warn us of something. Military guards signal us to board. Coloreds help one another. War behind us, we walk toward the dining car when out of nowhere, a large white US soldier blocks our path, stops us in our tracks, legs spread, bayonet in hand, orders us to stand down, tells us, disobey my order and you will be court-martialed, tells us, find a seat, the kitchen will bring your food to you. We lose our appetite, look at one another. Head, heart, stomach grow numb. We question why in God's name did this have to happen to us? We were proud colored soldiers, lost life, family, eyes, and limbs to defend this country, but this country still could not break bread with us. Hours pass. Train makes another stop, picks up several troops of captured Nazis. Guess they were hungrier than us because they marched them past us into the dining car, like we weren't even there, like we were the enemy, like we caused the Holocaust, like we experimented on Jews without anesthesia, branded them like cattle, gassed millions in ovens, placed hundreds in front of firing squads, dumping them in mass graves, fed them Nazis in the dining car in spite of the US government telling us Nazis had committed crimes against humanity and needed to be stopped. They broke bread with them, but not with us. Fed them Nazis hot food, made us wait outside the dining car for cold sandwiches. What did we fight for? We killed for America, lost life, family, eyes, and limbs to defend America. Do white Americans serve other whites no matter how vile they act? What is this white man's story? Black elder bets, water-swollen eyes rolls tides into mine, where I note the war did not end, it moved.
Thank you, Tarita. Our next poet up is Ed MyQ.
A great final music. That words dream motion, makes life glorious, puts raw silk to silence, gives music tongue, reveals in all the rainbow colors how nature comes listening to seed bursting, to the prairie garnet and the desert chimney peridot, leaving the wind behind. Actions matter, thoughts matter, and all flow into a great final music. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Our next poet is Thorold Prohl. Unmute yourself, Thorold. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yes. There we
Now
go.
it's better. Now it's better.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
The end of the 20th century. The trees splintered like simple matches. Horses had fled themselves into the elevators. Until the scent of the evening, I closed my eyes. Afterwards, I threw away the key. The moon really believes he is nothing but a normal star. Just like that, can bark at too. A little something more material kind of caught my eye. The saleswoman was completely naked. I carry a letter to you, been with me for a long time. And what saddens me, now on the way to the mailbox are only voting documents, the road salt under my feet.
Thank you, Thorold.
Thank you.
Our next poet is Rorschach.
Here I am. Let me find my poem and I will read. Thank you. Okay. An excerpt from the Asbestos Files. The Asbestos Files. Each one contains a working man's tragedy. They did their jobs each day for decades, cutting sheet metal, fitting pipes, installing insulation, welding together the nation's infrastructure, while unknowingly breathing asbestos fibers, which worked at their lungs year after year until cancers grew and devoured them. A galaxy of names, dates of birth and marriage, ominous dates of diagnosis, asbestosis, fibrosis, pulmonary disease, lung cancer, other cancers, often dates of death while waiting for the insurance settlement to clear. And no one gets paid without a proper Social Security number. Disputed asbestosis. The legal fees will always be paid, and a lesser settlement given to those who smoked, because lung disease can also be caused by cigarettes. Tobacco, another great American commodity, black smoke. Some say asbestos, others say asbestos. Some say the unquenchable stone, inextinguishable, fabled dragon's fires, asbestic armor made from an alleged kind of incombustible flax, nor does it conduct electricity. Asbestos is a mineral, a natural substance, unlike petrochemical plastics, a silicate of calcium and magnesium, which occurs in long grayish thread-like fibers. The finest asbestos, distinguished by long, silky, pearly white fibers. When broken up, it makes a dust of tiny fibers. When ingested, they remain in the body thereafter. Asbestiform, the form of this poem. Asbestos was found in the body of Esther's first husband after his untimely, unexplained death from when he was in the Navy. A matrix operation quality of life interferes with my quality of life. Food, not bombs. When I unloaded trucks of insulated heater pipes once a week for several years, dyed yellow dust tickling through a surgical mask. So am I a walking time bomb? Working files, lung pain, the power of suggestion. I am perhaps asbestine, not likely to take fire.
Thank you, Rorschach. Our next poet up is Sandro Sardella.
Blue Night, postcard di scanto. Stai attento alle tue orecchie, essi hanno muri. Scritta su un muro di Parigi nel 1968. 1. Il prezzo degli aquiloni salirà alle stelle. Vibrano i cadaveri dissanguati di vuote automobili. Traboccano di fiamma, l'odore di piscio, respirare la brezza dei relitti, le raffiche di piombo dei venti di Libia, le canzoni, le parlate roventi, novelle spedite da tradite primavere, uno stagno di chiacchiere, la parola affonda nella pagina, la farfalla cascata nel bicchiere, mare petrolio guasto si è imbriacata, la polvere dei davanzali di Taranto arrugginisce il fiato di bimbi nel cortile della scuola. L'alveare vuoto, senza api, senza miele, abbandonato. 2. Raccontami dell'ascoltare i colori delle foglie, della città dei cementi dentro un'epoca di mercenari, del barcollare alla cieca nella notte italiana, dei fiori che si allungano verso la luce, del sapore della nebbia. 3. Il silenzio ha un suono agro. Le fotocarbone e luce di Salgado splendono d'amaro. medicano la tristezza della foresta, le stelle bucano il buio predatorio del giardino umano. Nel cielo una risata è comparsa e se n'è andata. L'ombra della grafite cenere si insinua, investe, plasma l'invadenza virale prepotente di nascosti chiarori, di nascoste verità, smorfie, sorrisi e croci sulla sabbia di Rio. 4. Cosa fanno i garofani rossi che non si stancano di ondeggiare, che continuano ad accompagnare l'utopia che non finisce mai? Cosa fanno i garofani rossi che domani mi innamoro? 5. Tenevo un fiore rosso nella mano nera di un catarroso blues tra le ali unte e rumorose del lavoro salariato. La fabbrica bolliva, ansimava le mie mani. Profumava di sesso una vecchia bandiera tra ferri vecchi e catrame. Ho visto la santa rigida tutta operaia lacerarsi. Ho visto inchiostri ritornare in aule saccenti. Volevo concimare con la poesia il lavoro. Volevo rompere il potere della sirena del padrone. 6. La pelle della luce, la vastità dell'ombra di una foglia. Vergogna a coloro che sputano sulla generazione di Greta Thunberg e di Vanessa Nakate. Vergogna, vergogna ai messaggeri, ai santificatori dell'economico. Aprire le porte con Don Cherry che soffia la voce umana nella tromba. Aprire il respiro lungo i fraseggi del sax di Lester Young. Aprire le note blues piano di Thelonious Monk in Route About Midnight. Aprire all'andare, camminare, lavorare altri discorsi nel bicchiere vuotato di Piero Ciampi. Aprire il mare delle tue labbra, la mia febbre, la mia linea di indifferenza. Aprire a tutto fiato, a tutto corpo, la pelle della luce, la castità dell'ombra di una foglia sulla sabbia nera, giù fra le nuvole, fiori spenti dentro un cielo di Lombardia. 7. Racconto. Raccontami delle magre parole rubate, depurate dalla discarica mediatica, del vento rivoltoso del rantolante e rabbioso deserto urbano, della giovane poeta che scrive nelle cicatrici della filosofia, delle note spettinate e parlanti dei vinti, oltre un presente di devastamento, di paura, di guerre, di.
Thank you, Sandro. And now Laco Guzini will read his translation. Oh, you muted yourself. There you go.
Got it. Thank you. Blue Nights, postcards, the scan. Watch out for your ears. They have walls. Street Graffiti, Paris, 1968. 1. The price of kites will skyrocket. Hum the drained corpses of empty automobiles, boiling over with flames. Stench of piss, inhaling debris of wreckage, barrage of lead, Libyan winds, the songs, the talks, incandescent novellas out of betrayed springtimes. Stagnant chit-chat, words sink into the page. A butterfly has fallen into the drink. Broken down, petrol sea. She got drunk. The dust of Taranto's windowsills rusts the breath of children in the school courtyard. Empty beehives with bees or honey abandoned. 2. I tell, you tell, of listening to the color of leaves, of the city of concrete in a time of mercenaries, of staggering blind through the Italian night, of flowers stretching toward the light, of the flavor of fog. 3. Silence tastes sour, Salgado's light and carbon prints shimmer with bitterness, medicating the sorrow of the forest. Stars puncture the predatory darkness in this human garden. Up in the sky, a laugh appeared, then was gone. The shadow of graphite ashes creeps, overtakes, molds the overbearing viral intrusiveness of hidden gleamings, of hidden truths. Grimaces and smiles and crosses across sand in Rio. 4. What do the red carnations do as they never tire of swaying, continuing to accompany the never-ending utopia? What do the red carnations do? Tomorrow I'm falling in love. 5. I kept a red flower in the black hand of a mucus blues between the oily, noisy wings of wage labor. The factory boiled, panted. My hands, it was fragrant with sex, an old flag between scrap metal and tar. I saw the wholly rigid factory overalls be lacerated. I saw ink return to know-it-all chambers. I wanted to fertilize work with poetry. I wanted to shatter the power of the master's siren. 6. The skin, the light, the vastness of the shadow of one leaf. Shame on those who spit on the generation of Greta Thunberg and Vanessa Nakate. Shame, shame upon the messengers, the sanctifiers of economics, opening doors, with Don Cherry blowing a human voice into the trumpet, opening breath along the sax phrasings of Lester Young, opening blue piano notes of Thelonious Monk in roundabout midnight, opening going, walking, working, and other speeches in the emptied glass of Piero Ciampi, opening the sea of your lips, my fever, my line of indifference, opening with full breath, full body, the skin, the light, the chasteness of the shadow of one leaf on the black sand, down through the clouds, spent flowers under a Lombardy sky. 7. I tell, do tell, of meager, stolen words purified out of the media dump, of the wind rioting through the rabid, rattling urban desert, of the young poet writing into the scars of philosophy, of the disheveled chatty notes, of the vanquished beyond the present, of devastation, of fear, of war, of.
Thank you, Lapo. Thank you, Sandro.
Thank you, Lapo. Thank you.
Our next poet is Nina Serrano. Take your mute off, Nina.
Sorry.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Nina.
My poem is called Last Days of February, 2022.
Turn the light on.
We were on the end of our walk along the shore of Green Island. Approaching our car in the parking lot, 3 rabbits raced across the field, hopping like early metaphors of spring. Further away were a group of walkers like us, with picker-uppers and trash bags, removing the trash. They too seemed like metaphors. This was the first time we saw others cleaning up here. I felt the hope of upcoming spring. With our picker-uppers and trash bags, are we too multiplying like rabbits?
Thank you, Nina.
You're welcome.
Next up is Oscar Locatelli.
In Italian, hi.
Hello.
Robin has crossed the boundaries of our mind full of barbed wire, not like an abandoned nest. That robin is here in front of me. It can no longer find water. Its song is uncertain. Its blackened feathers have only one color. The robin has flown over kilometers of humanity, a few centimeters of dignity.
Thank you, Oscar. Glad you could make it. Our next poet is Doreen Stock.
Who will tally? Who will tally this first sunrise of the new year as it moves across the USA? The hospitals of COVID patients, the gunned down being laid to earth, the charred remains of newly torched houses covered by a sudden snow, and the paths of the two tornadoes, the underpasses shielding tent encampments from the rain, the empty bellies shivering, the overdosed, and those who believe that the president was never elected. Who will tally the quiet joys eating breakfast, smiles breaking out at the sight of a landscape spared, a loved face, the students of change in their serious glasses, the birds splashing in rain-filled baths? Who will report the tally? What will they say as Desmond Tutu and Betty White are laid to rest, only two of multitudes? Who will tally the rest? Who will report? And what will be said to build, to destroy? And like the many-armed goddess who holds the souls of the dead on one side of her slender belled body, the souls of the living on the other, how will we turn with her this day to build as the clouds do, the sounds of bells tinkling, to diminish the many-sounded bells tolling, weeping at what holy fires have turned to ash?
Thank you, Doreen. Our next poet is Sarah Thieliku. You have to unmute. Unmute, Sarah. Yeah, that's good. We're still, I can barely hear you, Sarah. Can you turn your volume up? You want to try again?
Okay. Is it okay now?
A little bit. Speak up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So, my poem is Φωτιές. Είμαι το αρχαίγωνο δάσος. Ο αναστεναγμός του ανέμου μες στα φύλλα. Ρομφαία αχτή. Η αρκούδα με βήμα βαρύ. Ξερά κλαδιά που έχουν στο πέρασμα της. Είμαι. Μοναξιά του το βλέμμα του ελιαφιού. Τώρα το διπόλια η αίδα βάζει fires. I am the primitive force. Messiah of the lives. A small to raise. Live the heavy force. Drive branches crafting. And the masses. I am the loneliness of the plants of the deer. The making of the woodpecker. I am also fuse. Send the force of fire. Thank you.
Lisbeth, maybe you should read it in English. And then
Oh, okay, just a second.
on page 161.
Thank you. Fires. I am the primitive forest, the sigh of the wind in the leaves, a sword of rays, a bear with a heavy footstep, dry branches crackling when it passes. I am the loneliness of the wolf, the glance of the deer, the pecking of the woodpecker. I am also the fuse, setting forest on fire. Thank you, Sarah. Let's see. Next is Raymond Nat Turner.
Okay, so sorry about that.
Not at all.
That's real. Okay, it's called Reclaiming Our Time for the Planet. Grand Canyon bathtub rings telling us the Colorado River's dropped over 150 feet. 20 years of drought and a wildfire week, a nor'easter, superstorm, hurricane, tornado, typhoon, and tsunami over blackened birds, slimy, gooey, tarbled waters, obligatory oil spills over corporate propaganda cycles, a delicious recipe for disaster. Whisker-sized particulate matters winning air superiority in pumpkin skies. Skies bees buzz decks from, skies hummingbirds and butterflies hung out in. Skies crows drop from, jamming with pigeons and spying on stashing, noshing squirrels. A place you could get a gallon of unleaded water that smelled drinkable. This was before Roundup Ready corporate propaganda cycles ejaculating Satan's sperm into our aquifers. Before prioritizing our friends by stages/types of cancer they suffer from. No need for nuance here. Let's say it simply, say it plainly. The kettle's been on the back burner, whistling frantically for decades, warning of capitalist immolation. And the world can't wait. The world can't wait. Bass aquas for 21st century technology to catch up with 17th century ideology. Can't wait in perpetuity on old mush-mouth men's mumblings on markets. 17th century catechisms covering 21st century crimes of climate. The world can't wait for more inflated claptrap, more cleverly crafted lies, more methane promises huffed and puffed, killing us softly with their carbon. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Raymond.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Let's
And
see.
that's it. I want to thank everybody for making this happen, and I'll just close with a little bit from the preface. Many hands make up the cadre that has brought this anthology to life. But the Revolutionary Poets Brigade and this continuing anthology series would not have brought us together without Jack's deep love and belief in each one of us. Jack Hirschman presente. Thank you, everyone. You can unmute and clap.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grazie. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks so much.
Bravo, bravo. Thank you.
Oh,
it was great.
Thank you.
So if any of your friends missed it,
Thanks all.
watch it on YouTube in a day or two.
Thank
you, everyone.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Okay. John will share a link so you can see it on YouTube. So anyway,
Okay.
thank you. Hope to do this again next year. Probably have to start it sooner or later.
Thank you.
All right,
Ciao.
thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, Jack.